How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles classic collection, Raphael. This will be the third one of these turtles that I've unboxed. These are inspired by the original TMNT animated series from 1988. They claim to have 34 points of articulation, which is a lot of articulation. You know I'm all about that articulation and the movement, so I like posing my figures. I find it really handy that they give us all these different points of articulation now. When I was a kid, I swear we didn't have much at all. The original turtles, would they have like 6 points of articulation or something silly? Not much at all. So we've come a long way since then. These really have the feel of the 1988 cartoon series that was on television. To me, these are like the Motu classics, I guess. I haven't really seen any other turtles that kind of would replace the Motu classics from Mattel. So these just kind of do that for me. They are a throwback to the cartoon, but then way better than the original turtles that we got in a bigger scale. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the back of this box. And as you can see, down here at the bottom, we've got Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello. We are unboxing Raphael currently, and Donatello should be the next and final turtle to unbox, and then we'll be getting into some of the villains. I'll go ahead and zoom in up here at the top just so you can read that if you want to. I'm not going to read it all to you. I've read it on the previous 2 boxes. I'll just make sure that it's nice and zoomed in so that you guys can take a look at that if you want. And then we got the really cool turtle art here on the back of the box. So, as long as he's been in the box, I think about 12 years now, he's finally getting opened, guys. Just like the other 2. So, eventually we'll have them all open, and hopefully I'll be able to find another on-card set in the future. Oddly enough, I've heard that these guys are popping up at Ross. So, if they're popping up at Ross, they're going to be a really good price, and that's pretty amazing in my opinion, because if you try to find the Motu classics today, you're going to be paying double, even triple, maybe quadruple what they sold for when they came out. But then we've got these guys who, for whatever reason, are showing up at Ross, I guess, in 2024. So it's actually pretty exciting. It'll give people a chance to get these turtles that didn't get to get them when they first came out. And I recommend these above all other turtles to anyone. I'll go ahead and move this to the side. You can see here in the background we have the Ninja Elite Turtles. Over here we've got the NECA 90s movie turtles, and then in the middle we've got Michelangelo and Leonardo from the classic collection. And I would say out of these 3 different styles of turtles, the classic collection's definitely my favorite. They have that old school 80s vibe and feel from the cartoon, and I'm really impressed with them. So if I had to choose one to be my favorite, it would probably be this classic collection. And if I was to pick a favorite turtle, I'm always stuck between Michelangelo and Raphael. I love both of them. I like Raphael's attitude. I like Michelangelo's completely contrasting attitude. I just feel like they are the 2 best turtles in my opinion. But we're going to go ahead and get this guy pulled out of the box and see what he looks like. Alright, let's see. These don't have an easy tear from the bottom slot. You just got that right there, and that actually did come out really easy. So they come out with a manhole cover figure stand, which is actually really cool that they include this. They don't include these with the NECA Turtles or the Ninja Elite Turtles, so it's really awesome that they thought to include this, and they make it kind of look like a manhole cover. So I think that's really cool. I'm actually going to get it out because sometimes they stand up better when they have their figure stands to stand on. And then let's get him pulled out of that box. And we can pitch this to the side now. All right, so there he is. Do we have bands? It looks like possibly. We've got some twist ties on the sides. Twist ties on the sides. Yep, right here.
So we're not really going to be able to cut these or break these. We're going to have to untwist them. I don't know, maybe we can cut them. They're not untwisting. We've got tools at hand, so let's just go ahead and try and cut them. They are, oh yeah, they're plastic. They cut. This one, a little harder to get to down in here.
He's like vacuum sealed in there to the max. Since he came with a figure stand that's right here, we're not going to bother trying to pose him without it. We're just going to stick him straight on this bad boy. There we go. Let's get his arms positioned so they're not quite so silly, up in the air everywhere. Little thumb turned around. Hiya. And hiya. Ooh, we did split his belt apart. Let me fasten that back together real quick. All right, so there his belt had come unsnapped. I'm not sure if it's actually supposed to do that or not. It seemed like it popped off there pretty easily. So I'm guessing it wasn't glued. I didn't really see any glue behind it. But here he is standing there waving at you like the nice guy that he is, even though he's got a pretty angry look on his face. But we know Raphael, he's the grumpy turtle. So let's go ahead and go over his articulation here. He can look to the left. His head is stiff. He can look to the right. He can look down about that far right there. And he can look up to about right there, and his diaphragm is fully extended, so that right there is about as high up as he's going to be able to look. The articulation on his arms are going to be exactly the same. It can go up, it can spin all around. We do have a shoulder swivel that will spin all the way around. We have a bicep cut that will spin all the way around. We do have double jointed pinned elbows that get a lot of articulation. He can reach up and touch his head, scratch his head, whatever you want him to do. As we rotate around, his wrist will spin 360 degrees, and then we have full articulation of the turtle fingers. The thumb, as you can see, can go up, down, and it can spin all the way around. It's broken thumb. And then the fingers can go in, and they can go out, and they do work independently of each other. So you don't have to move up one finger to move the other finger. When it gets to the center, he's got this diaphragm cut you can see, which allows him to party boy back and forth. He can crunch forward. He can't crunch back very much because the shell starts hitting him back here in the back of the legs, but he can crunch forward a bit. Let's pull this off. It's just getting in the way. As far as the splits, he can do a pretty good split. I would say it's not completely horizontal, but it's definitely better than I can do. He has a thigh cut right here, which will allow you to swivel his thigh a full 360 degrees. His hips also do articulate. They rock in and out really well on top of the thigh swivel, so you've got a really good amount of articulation here. Double jointed pinned knees, again, for the win. And then we have the ankle that is also on the joint, so it can point down, it can point up, and then the same as the fingers, the toes actually will articulate independently of each other. So really cool. Maximum articulation in these guys. The color's good. The red's bright. The metal is kind of metally. It's kind of gray plastic, but also kind of looks like metal at the same time. But I'm hoping you can see as I'm holding and reviewing this guy here why these guys are my favorite. They just have something extra. I feel like they have a little more personality. They just really scream of that 80s Turtle series to me, and I absolutely love it. We're going to get him posed up on his base. Go ahead and pull a couple of his brothers out here to compare with him and take a closer look and give our final thoughts. So here we've got all three of the turtles. We've still got Donatello yet to unbox, but we have all three of these turtles pulled out of the box side by side, looking great. One thing that I do like about this set that is different than the Ninja Elites or the NECA set is it goes back to the traditional turtles as far as each turtle is going to be a slightly different shade of green. And I kind of have them lined up like that. Right now, Leonardo would be the lightest shade of green, closely followed by Raphael. And then we've got Michelangelo over here, clear on the right, in the darkest. So, and I've got them posed up different ways just so you can kind of see. We've got Michelangelo waving at you, Leonardo's pointing at you and making himself a little fist. I guess we got Mikey making a little fist as well. And then because Raph is the star of the show here, I also wanted to show that he can hold his size both ways. I like to pose my Raphael holding his size this way, but then I also like to pose him this way. So having the option to put the sai either way, I think is really good and a really smart that they left that little gap between the fingers and made it articulate so that he could hold it that way if that's how you wanted to display your Raphael. Out of these guys, I'm going to have to say Raphael's my favorite. The bright red on that green's just killing it. Mikey was my favorite out of this set so far. It seems like every time I open a new one, I get a new favorite. And hey, that's just me. We'll see which one I like best once we actually get them all opened up and in hand. But right now, that bright red's just popping off of there. It looks so good. It's making the orange look a little muted, actually. But really big fan of this figure. Raphael, definitely one of my favorite turtles of all time. So I just want to thank you guys for watching the video. Let me know out of these three, which one's your favorite, Leo, Raph, or Mikey. And then between the cartoon or the classic collection, the Ninja Elite collection, and the NECA Turtles, what's your favorite out of those three sets? Stay tuned for more videos. Donatello will be coming next, followed quickly by Rocksteady and Bebop. We'll see you in the next one.